there are some marketplaces who try to make it as easy as possible to go from one country to another.
Our aim is really to help small sellers, big sellers, like to expand internationally with ease. One registration, 7 markets, one and the same seller portal. So don't limit your potential. And again, like Kaufland, it's really marketplace for internationalization. By 2030, it's expected globally to grow 5 times.
All right, welcome to another podcast. Today I'm joined by Zoe from Kaufland, and we'll be talking about why you should sell on Kaufland, what Kaufland has been up to, and more information on Kaufland Global Marketplace. So Zoe, maybe best to have you introduce yourself.
Yes, so hi Lucas. First of all, thank you so much for the invitation. For me, it's very exciting today to speak a little bit more about cross-border opportunities and of course how we support our sellers to grow internationally. So thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, good to have you here. And I mentioned it already a bit in the intro, but we're really looking for insights on in this case, Kaufland. We have a lot of sellers internationally. They're always looking for the next opportunity to expand their reach and grow their business. What's your role at Kaufland? Maybe best to start there.
Perfect. So my role in Kaufland is actually international sales manager, but my path with Kaufland started a few years ago, and it started in the physical store. So actually Kaufland has a lot of supermarkets. That's how we're most famous for, because our marketplace is way younger than our stationery business. So I started a few years in Kaufland, Bulgaria. Then I moved to Kaufland International, which actually led me to Germany. And since 2 years now, I'm part of the marketplace of Kaufland. And actually what I really value for this experience is that I have seen how Kaufland works in the traditional retail and how it works in the digital retail. And this helps me to really understand what sellers need in order to be successful and how to support them in the best possible way. Yeah. So long story short.
All right. I mean, marketplaces are everywhere for the last few years. What makes Kaufland stand out as a marketplace? What's unique?
So actually, marketplace is all-in-one solution for our sellers, which helps them to grow both nationally and internationally. And why I say internationally? Because what we try to achieve is basically to support sellers more and more to grow around Europe, because we have I think we already mentioned it, like 7 markets. Yeah. We didn't mention which the markets are already, so maybe now it's a good time. We are open in Kaufland, so Kaufland.de, Germany, Czech, Slovakia, Poland, Austria, France, and Italy. Yeah. So
Czech, Slovakia, Poland,
Austria, France, and Italy.
And France and Italy being the last 2 editions.
Yes. So if we take a look in our roadmap, we started with Kaufland.de in 2021. And then 2023 was the year that we started building the Kaufland Global Marketplace idea by starting our expansion. So then we enter in Czech and Slovakia. Then last year, 2024, we opened Poland and Austria. And this year we opened France and Italy. And actually, Austria is a very interesting case, because Austria is the first country that we enter without having the market, the supermarket stores is there. Because actually what really supports our marketplace is the brand Kaufland, because it has been around for very long years, and it gives directly to our sellers credibility around the customers, and of course gives them directly access to loyal customers from day one. But for Austria, we were a little bit wondering, because we performed very nice and we had a very good start in Czech, Slovakia, Poland, because people already, let's say, knew us quite well. We actually have nearly 99% brand awareness there.
Oh, okay. But they know you from the physical stores?
Yes, and this is a good bridge.
And for Austria, that wasn't the case, but did it work out?
It was not the case, but actually in the beginning we had 40% brand awareness even there, because Austria is quite near the border, so it's at the border with Germany, and Austrian customers like to do a lot of cross-border shopping, so they knew about us. But now our brand awareness is more than 55% already, and we see very good results there. So that was our sign that expanding, even without having our huge brand awareness in the given markets, can make really can provide very good results.
Nice. And so I know from experience that there are some marketplaces who try to make it as easy as possible to go from one country to another, but it's not always super nice. That's of course why Channable helps in doing something similar. But what do you guys do to lower the barrier for example, German customers to go to Italy and the other way around?
So this is, I think, where Kaufland really, Kaufland Global Marketplace makes a difference, because our aim is really to help small sellers, big sellers, to expand internationally with ease. And we know that there are a lot of challenges through the way, but we know about them, and we actually are solving them for our sellers. We do several things actually. So first of all, one of the really complicated things I think nowadays is that you have to have your product data in the language of the market. You have to communicate with the customers on the language of the market. But we are very happy that we live in a very digital time. So we have automatic translation tools all around our seller portal. And actually, what is interesting here also to mention is that because we aim at being the marketplace for expansion, especially in Europe, just with one registration, the sellers have access to all of the marketplaces. So one registration.
One Kaufland Global registration.
Global Marketplace, yes. So one registration, 7 markets, one and the same seller portal. And actually in there, once, let's say, seller list their product data in kaufland.de, we can directly transfer the whole product data to Italy, so to kaufland.it. Then directly we would translate the product data and everything. So we really thought about how to make the internalization very easy for the sellers. And also there are other challenges like, for example, requirements for every market. And that can be quite tricky. This is why we work with a lot of partners who can support the sellers to be, of course, compliant exactly with all the regulations. And here with Italy, so actually with France, Italy was not such a big problem, but France actually appeared to be quite complicated when it comes to EPR requirements. That's how they're called.
That's the packing, I think the packing stuff.
European producer responsibility. I think it's the abbreviation, but it's about the packaging and everything. So while we were developing our marketplace to open there, we saw that several sellers actually are not able to start selling there because there is the need of IDU or ID. And for example, for Germany, electronic sellers need VEE number. And of course, some other registrations, but they're quite fast and easy, but the VIN number can take long. But the VIN number is just for electronic sellers. But in France,
it's for everything.
Yes, this IDU number, you need it for every single category. You need it for your packaging. You need it for your batteries, for everything. So we had to step up and actually do something about lowering that barrier. And we developed the EPR management by Kaufland, which is a service which sellers can use. And it allows them to use our IDU numbers. We could get IDU numbers and make it possible for our sellers to use them. So from one of the hardest countries to enter, actually became one of the easiest because we provide.
You don't need to handle it.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yes.
And you mentioned... for example, the translation also on the customer service part. So
everywhere.
So that means because I'm assuming a lot of Dutch sellers, for example, they don't really know how to communicate with Slovakian buyers or consumers, or Italian for that matter. So you then translate the incoming message, you can reply in English and it will translate it back to the other language?
Yes, so normally what we always recommend is that sellers answer in the language of the customer, because like that you have a better seller service at the end of the day. But I think everybody nowadays uses automatic translations. We have the automatic translation there, but I think it's more important just to, for example, you get a message from the Slovakian seller, then you can press directly to translate, to understand, and then of course to adapt your message. Like you can of course send it maybe in English, but I would always recommend to go with the local language so that you really take good care of the client.
And the customer feels like they're buying locally instead of, the feeling of buying a dropship product for that matter. Hey, and you mentioned the quick expansion in Europe. If sellers are interested in Kaufland, because I know Kaufland Germany is quite popular, like I mentioned, but the new locales are a bit fresher, so they're starting up. But how difficult is it for a new seller to start selling on Kaufland?
I would not say that it's difficult, to be honest. Like I work with a lot of sellers and I hear their feedback. So compared to others, we are quite flexible and quite easy to start with. So if you want, I can lead the sellers who are interested how the whole process is, because it's really not hard. So first of all, they have to register. We need 1 to 3 days to review the registration and activate the account. Once the sellers have access to the account, then they have to do their onboarding, or this is actually the setup of the sales channels. So 1 registration, 1 seller portal, and there the sellers can decide, okay, I want to onboard Kaufland Germany, or okay, I would like to onboard for the marketplace in Germany, Czech, Slovakia, Poland, Austria, France, Italy, for
it's
everything.
Just check marks, basically.
Yes, more or less, yes, because once you, so we have so much places in the seller portal that we really ease the sellers, okay, when you fulfill, for example, the onboarding for Kaufland.de, and if you want to start filling the onboarding for Kaufland.it, we would transfer a lot of things already, like we would translate your legal texts as well. So it's very fast process, but of course, sellers sometimes think that they need to start selling everywhere. That's not the case. They can sell wherever they want, but we really recommend to start selling actually everywhere possible, because now the market is so open, and actually by 2030 it's expected globally to grow 5 times from now on. Yes, so
selling everywhere. Of course, I know both sides of that argument. So I know a lot of sellers are eager to quickly sell everywhere, and then they sort of lose focus on the most important products or the most important locales. But on the other hand, if there's no downside to selling everywhere, you need to be able to deliver products there, which is of course still something they pay for as well. But if they can do that, if they can deliver in Italy and France, then there's little downsides to offering your products.
Yes, actually I work with a lot of their sellers as well, and I hear their stories, I hear how they think about it. So of course, always what they do is to start with Kaufland.de.
Yeah, the biggest one, right?
The biggest one, yes, of course. I mean, it makes sense, but then when we speak about what about expansion, like there are other markets, and then they're like, let's test first Kaufland Germany. They come, for example, with their best-selling 5 articles, and then they're waiting. And then I wonder, like, I asked them, okay, first of all, like we go to events, like here in Utrecht, there is one of the biggest, I think, e-commerce event, like the Webwinkel. So we meet so much sellers and they share so much stories, and they're like, I'm not successful with Kaufland. And I'm like, let's take a look together, like in your account. Maybe there is something, because sometimes some settings are not done, for example, something very small that we can see very easy, but for the sellers, they don't even think about it. And then very often I see, okay, there are just 5 to 10 articles. And I ask them, how big is your portfolio? And they're like, normally in our own website, we have like 500 or 1,000 or whatsoever. And then I'm like, okay, and why do you have 5 articles online in our marketplace? And then they're like, yes, we like to try to test it out. And I asked them a logical question. So we have, by the way, 32 million visitors in Kaufland.de by itself. So in the whole, in all of the markets, we have more than 139 million visitors.
Yeah.
And here my question is, how well can you serve to those many customers with 5 articles?
Yeah.
Now think about how well can you do it with 500, 5,000.
Yeah, it's an interesting argument because I also get where they come from, because maybe on other marketplaces it is better to start with just your winners. But you're basically saying on Kaufland it's best to just cast a wide net and see what happens, and then, you know, adjust based on those learnings. But if you start so small, it is going to take a lot of time for you to gather the right learnings.
Yes, and on the other side, how to say? Just think about them, like their top 5 sellers. Like they're different sellers. Let's speak about distributors. Maybe the top 5 or 50 top sellers from those distributors are actually super competitive articles. So maybe there are many other sellers who sell the same articles, and then most of the marketplaces nowadays work with the buy box or buy button or buy something. So the best offer wins. And if you come with your 10 articles or 50 and then you don't win the buy box, then you're not even visible. But if you come with 5,000, maybe half of your assortment, you're the first one to bring it to Germany. You never know. So come with the whole assortment. That's in my opinion, the recipe for us. I don't know how is it for other marketplaces. Test what would be your best sellers in Germany, in Czech, in Slovakia, in Italy. Like, I believe in every market there are different customers, different needs. So don't limit your potential. And again, like Kaufland, it's really marketplace for internalization. Of course, sellers can only stay in one market. It's up to them. But nowadays, there's such a big opportunity, so much growth.
I agree.
That I would recommend them to really try.
Yeah, and especially if you went through the labor of setting up one channel, then the additional labor of setting up a second is diminished, and then the third one is even easier. So I agree. So with the people listening now, they became very enthusiastic, right? One account, 7 channels, and hearing you talk about it, I'm expecting more in the future. But you know, that's my personal assumption there. But is there a specific seller that Kaufland is looking for, or maybe specific sellers that you are not looking for?
No, we don't have like the perfect seller, or we don't exclude sellers at all, because we are a generalist marketplace, which means we are not a beauty marketplace, we are not fashion marketplace, we are a marketplace with more than 6,400 categories. So we are a marketplace for everything, and every seller can actually grow their sales with us. And actually, we have different tools for different type of sellers. So, for example, sellers who are brand owners, we provide them sponsored brand ads. We provide them the opportunity to build a brand store. Also, we allow them to put rich content, which for us is, for example, additional pictures, videos, description, so that they can actually spare the brand awareness in our marketplace. And for sellers who are distributors, for example, with way bigger portfolios, we have tools like automatic pricing, so Smart Pricing Plus, we call it. And this is a tool that allows them to really be competitive, because you can see a lot of sellers. It is a repricer, yes.
Okay, interesting. And the branded features, is that something you've been developing recently as Kaufland? Because I remember when it transitioned from Real to Kaufland, there wasn't really that much for brands. Is that something you're investing in more on your side?
Yes, to be honest, I know that a lot of marketplaces are customer-centric. We all are, it's normal. Like the customers are the ones who actually, of course, make our marketplace successful and our sellers successful. But also we are a marketplace that it's very focused on sellers, because when our sellers are growing, then we are also growing. So we are constantly thinking how to support them more. We have personalized support, by the way, like by phone, by email. So sellers can always reach us, and we constantly develop new analytical tool. Like now with AI, we have our AI assistant, which is super accurate, by the way. They can ask a lot of questions.
An AI assistant.
Of course.
Does it
Nowadays-
have a name, the AI assistant?
Sally.
Sally, okay.
It is Sally, so I think Sally.
Oh, Sally, yeah, okay.
It's a very cute name, but I test it from time to time with the sellers because sometimes they can ask questions that maybe take me time to answer. I am in meetings and I'm like, can you try to answer, like to ask Sally? And Sally actually provides quite a good answer.
Nice. So maybe as a final question, what would you say are the, to also summarize your story, what are the 3 advantages of selling on Kaufland?
Okay, so we spoke a lot, and maybe it's a good idea to summarize and to let's see what would be the top 3. So first of all, I would always say that our brand awareness, so the Kaufland brand by itself, because actually our brand gives credibility to the sellers directly, and of course access to many loyal customers. Then our personal seller support, because we're always there for our sellers. And at the end of the day, so easy to sell internationally. One registration, one seller portal, and access to all the markets. So
so the scalability is a big advantage as well. Yeah, and I think we share the sentiment on good support. That's also something we value a lot at Channable, and that's also appreciated by sellers, because ultimately it's their business as well. If something's not working, they want to have a direct line. So, I think that's a great summary. Sellers, they know where to go to register. It's just,
I hope,
Kaufland register on Google, and then they can
Kaufland
go
Global
ahead.
Marketplace. So registration, I think it's quite fast to find it, and maybe now we can give a nice incentive to the sellers to register. Because for this special podcast, we created a special code for all the sellers who would like to join. Maybe we can write it down under the podcast.
We have show notes in the podcast.
I think
so
that would be the easiest one, because it's a Channable podcast, but with big letters all together. So everybody is really welcome to come and join. And this voucher code, let's say, provides 3 months without any monthly fee.
Nice.
And this is a good test period for the sellers to really see that it's worth it to come with the whole assortment and to see how well they would develop.
Everything online. Okay. Well, thank you so much for the conversation. I think this is going to answer a lot of questions, but also incentivize sellers to look beyond Kaufland Germany and to all the other locales. Thanks for having. Thanks for coming and talking about Kaufland. And I'll put it in the show notes. Thanks.
Thank you so much as well, Lucas, for having me here with you today. It was a great pleasure. And of course, if you ever have other topics, we can always meet and always give good insights for the sellers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.